Hi, I'm İlkay and welcome to my tutorial series Lightning Sibelius. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare beautiful looking dynamic parts in a fast and professional way. Before we start, please subscribe to my channel and click on the thumbs up button below. If you like my tutorials and if you want to support my channel, you can also donate it via PayPal link in the description. The very first thing you have to deal is the part stuff size and page turns with systems per page organization. The best option for the instrument part size is between 6.5 and 7 mm for an A4 paper. It is important because the players must see their parts easily under the low light conditions on the stage and from the distance where they sit. Personally, I do not suggest to go less than 6.5 mm here, and I prefer to use 7 and it's well okay. For the page turns, you should be careful to the odd numbers because odd numbers are your page turn friends. Remember keeping the page turns on the last part of the staves and try to give enough time to the player to flip the page. So always use rests in this part. For this operation, I absolutely suggest to use systems per page and make layout uniform plugins. The make layout uniform plugin comes inside Sibelius, but you should download systems per page plugin, which has been written by Bob Zavali. To download it, go to File, Plugins, Install Plugins. Come to the Show tab and click on All Plugins and write Systems per and click on the Find button. After you have found the plugin, click on the Install button. After downloading it, remember to assign a custom shortcut for a lightning usage of this plugin. I call it via my plugins plugin, which is a great time saver, and I have done a dedicated chapter for it, and you can find its link in the description. I definitely suggest you to watch it if you want to bring your workflow to a next level. Okay, I have done a little mess here just to show you how to use systems per page plugin. What I'm going to do is I want to have 8 systems per page for flute 2. And I want it starts from bar 76, and what I'm going to do is I make my selection to the until the end of the page, and I run my systems per page plugin via my plugins plugin, and I write 8 both of the places and I click on OK. And as you see, it has organized all my pages with the 8 systems per page. Okay, let me give you an example for how to use Make Layout Uniform plugin. I make my selection and I write Make Layout Uniform to the command search, and let's say that I want to have 5 bars for each system in this selection, and I write 5 bars per system and I check do not break pages option here and I click OK. These were only some examples to show you how to use these plugins while you are formatting your parts. Please remember that these are not automatical things, and it's not that when you use systems per page plugin it will automatically format your layout and it will make everything beautiful looking. No, it's you who needs to make correct decisions and make the logic which would look good or which would not look good. And when you made up your logic, you can use these tools to save lots of your working time. You can also have a title page for each instrument. To have it, just write title page to the command search and click OK. Do your personal settings here. You can format these texts, but what I suggest you here to use instrument part name wildcard for the instrument part names, because once we are finished with the setup here, we will copy this part layout to other parts and it will automatically replace the part name with the new instrument's name. Besides, don't absolutely worry about that. We will not repeat this process for each instrument because we have a very handy and time saver option which is called copy part layout. Okay, let's add instruments part name wildcard. Blank page text and plain text. And while the cursor is blinking, click with the right button of your mouse and choose part name wildcard from the wildcard menu. And as you see, we have our part name automatically inserted. I'm going to format it by going to text and I want to change its size, and voila. Okay, before we use copy part layout option, let's add some rehearsal marks because they are very important for quick navigation during the execution. I prefer to add letters, but you can add what kind of rehearsal mark you want. To do so, come to the full score and choose the bar and hit Ctrl R, which is the shortcut of the rehearsal marks, and add rehearsal marks to the moments you think there should be a rehearsal mark. Maybe here. In here. So on and so forth. Please remember that it's better to put rehearsal marks before you split parts from your full score. The reason I have done it contrary is for the video demonstration purposes, because it's correct that musicians can be navigated via bar numbers, but it's also good to have rehearsal marks in the part. For example, this is my full score, and as you see, I have already organized my rehearsal marks. And for the navigation purposes, there's one more thing I want to show you. Go to Appearance tab, Engraving Rules, Bar Numbers, and check Show Range of Bars on Multirests and Center Range on Multirest. Click OK. And once you do this setup, you will see bar numbers range under the multirests, which is very useful. Do your final tweakings, and then we can use copy part layout feature. But when we use this option, you should remember that this is not an automatical thing and there is not an AI behind it, which can go well with your every existing instrument. The thing you should be careful is to copy the prepared layout to the similar instruments. For example, I have done these layout settings here for flute, and for this particular project it can go well with almost every woodwinds. So what I'm going to do is I copy the layout to all woodwinds instruments, then I just control one by one all the instruments to see if everything is okay, and I go into details. Okay, let me check if everything is okay. As you notice, the instrument part name wildcard we have just used before has been replaced by the new instrument name. It has done pretty good job, to be honest. Okay, once we are here, let me show you 3 more useful shortcuts for refining your part layout. Make into System. Make your selection and hit Alt-Shift-M, and as you see, it will put your selection into one system. I will need here a system break, and to have it, click on the bar line and hit the key Enter. And here I need to use, I make my selection, make into page option, and it is Ctrl-Alt-Shift-M. Okay, let me use here again make into system option to give more room to this system. Before we finish preparing all, remember how many percussion players you have. If you have one percussion player and you have 4-5 different instrument lines on the full score, you can use a super handy option to combine more parts into one part for one player, and it will be seen only in the parts and it won't affect your full score. To do so, go to the full score and choose the percussion instruments. Write make into part to the command search and go to the parts tab, come to the delete and delete non-combined percussion parts. So with this way it won't make any mess by duplicating already combined parts. As I mentioned before, this will not affect your full score and the new parts will be only for percussion players. What you might do also, you can write the instrument names. And here comes one of the most important parts, which is adding the Q notes. It is correct that you didn't see any Q notes in this orchestral score of mine, but by the time I had prepared it some years ago, I was not using Q notes then. And I have learned its importance from my experience. For me, the best way to add them is to try to think if it would be easy to count all those empty bars, and let's say that if I play the flute, can I start playing in this part without any problem? Okay, let's add some cue notes and you will understand it much better. To do so, go to the full score and make the selection of the passage which you want to use as cue notes. And this passage might seem easy, but it's a very critical one, because here the player is not exactly playing in 4/4, but the rhythmic feel here is kinda 9/8. So, but 9/8 done in Turkish way. So 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3. So pa pa pam, tara pa pam, tara tira para pi pa pa. So, and these might be very confusing for the players, which they are also playing differently in the next passage. So what I'm going to do is I will copy this passage by hitting Ctrl+C shortcut, and then I'm going to make my selection and I paste it by using its shortcut, which is Ctrl+Shift+Alt+V. And as you see, it has copied the passage as cue notes, as hidden notes. There is also another method which you can use. After you have copied the passage to your clipboard, you can go to Home tab, paste, and here paste as cue. And then when you go to your part, you will see that it has copied it to your parts very clearly. Okay, now I would like to share with you two new and amazing workflows for adding cue notes which have been added recently to the board. Since this operation is very important, I have come up with an idea to use Select Staves plugin for this purpose, and I have asked Bob Zavalli, the author of this plugin, if he was interested to update it with a very useful add-on. Thanks to him that he accepted the idea, and as the first method I will show you how to use Select Staves plugin for this purpose. Okay, you need to download the plugin first, and you already know how to download plugins. After you have downloaded it, I suggest you assign a shortcut for Lightning usage of it. I presume that you have already done these passages and we are ready to go. First, select the bars you would like to show as the cue notes at the destination instrument. And before running the Select Staves plugin, copy the bars to the clipboard by hitting Ctrl+C. Run the plugin and be sure that bars in passage selection is checked. Then choose your destination instrument from the list. If you want to make multiple selections, be sure that you want to skip hidden staves. To do so, you need to download an auxiliary plugin which is called Deselect Hidden Notes plugin. And once you download, you will notice that this option here will be clickable. Okay, I only want to paste my cue notes to one single instrument and I don't need to use Skip Hidden Staves option right now, so I choose my destination instrument from the list and I click on OK. As you see, Select Staves plugin will choose your destination staves in the same format as your main selection. And all you need to do right now is paste the clipboard to the destination staves by using Paste as Cue option. Now, if you think that this plugin might be very handy in large orchestral scores, right now I present you the second method, which is called Add Cue Notes plugin, which is much more fantastic. A brief history of this plugin is, after I have come up with this idea, I have written a macro for my engraver set and I have sent it to Bob Zavalli for a review. And he thought that it would be better to write a plugin from scratch only for this purpose, and then the Add Cue Notes plugin was born. Okay, download it first, and you already know how to download the plugins, and assign it a shortcut for Lightning usage. This time, make your selection first at your destination instrument and run the plugin by hitting its shortcut. Now, here the things are much more easier and more automatical. All you need to do right now is to choose from the list of which instruments bars will be pasted as cue notes. Boom! As you see, the plugin has copied musical phrase from the source step and pasted it as cue notes to the destination staves. You can also use this plugin for multiple selections. Make your selection first and be sure that Skip Hidden Staves option is selected. And click on OK. For a more detailed review video for this plugin, go to my Lightning Sibelius Add Cue Notes plugin chapter. Please remember that adding the cue notes will change your layout format. So you should do this before you start preparing your parts. Thank you for watching the video. If you like my tutorial series, please subscribe to my channel and click on the thumbs up button below. If you want to support my channel, you can also donate it via PayPal link in the description. See you soon in another mind-blowing Lightning Sibelius chapter.